Hello and welcome to Pearls of Paradise. My name is Courtney and I'm coming to you from Parma, Ohio, where I live with my husband and all of our yarn. Today is Friday, May 22nd. Welcome. It's about 8:45 in the morning when I'm recording this. The birds are singing, the sun is shining. It is a beautiful day. I have a lot to talk about. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, I'm so glad you're here. You can find me a couple of places on the internet these days, mostly over in our Discord group for the podcast and on Ravelry. And that's linked down below, along with my Instagram and some other things. Those are the two places I'm most active, though. I run the Giant Mini Mal, which is a make-along where you use your mini skeins, your scraps, all of those things. I've talked about it at length in previous episodes. You can head over to one of those previous episodes, my Instagram page, or the Ravelry group for more details on that. I'm also running the super duper loosey-goosey Garment Mal, which is that's just like a participation mal, just no finished objects needed, just work on garments and post about it and chat about it. And for both of those, I just draw for prizes quarterly. So yeah, that was our shortest intro ever. If I seem like I'm a little distracted today, it's because I am, and we'll chat about that later. But let's go ahead and just get right into the knitting. But first, I have no finished objects this week. I am not wearing any knitwear, but I guess we're going to get into why I'm distracted right now anyways. Yesterday was my last day at my job that I have had for 10 years. I have been at the same library, in the same job, in the same system, all of that. And I start a new library and a new system in a very similar role on Tuesday. So I'm very excited about it. But yesterday, and I'll talk about this mostly in life stuff. I know not everybody's interested. But yesterday was my last day and I had the most amazing day, but a lot of emotions. I am tired today, so bear with me if I'm a little all over the place. But the reason that I even mentioned that up front in the episode is I don't have a finished object, but I do want to share something that one of my dear friends and coworkers made for me as a going away gift. If you are not familiar, you might look at this and recognize exactly who he is. But if you're not familiar, the Artemis 2 expedition, which was the space expedition about a month ago, maybe like 6 weeks ago now, that went up and went around the moon and went further into space than humans have gone before. It was super cool. We were very invested. We were watching. Well, they had a plushie whose name was Rise. And the reason that they take a plushie with them, it's a zero gravity indicator. So it shows them when they're at a point, when the plushie's just floating along, that they are also good to float along. So, and I think Rise was designed by like a third grader or something, which is that's so cool. So my friend made me my very own Rise. So she did an amazing job. I don't know if there's a pattern or what. But now I have my very own. And since it's fibercraft related, I just had to show you. She did such an incredible job. I don't crochet a ton. And to me, this looks really hard. So yeah, I think she did an amazing job. And I just wanted to share that with you all. I thought that you guys would enjoy that and find it interesting. So this is Rise. He's my new friend. And I guess I'll put him right next to me on the table here. You can't see him, but he's right there. Okay. Oh, I guess he doesn't want to be there. He's very into the gravity at the moment. We'll put him down here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into knitting because, yeah, let's do it. I had talked about, I didn't talk about this. I was going to talk about this in a previous episode, started to, said I'd come back to it, and never did. which is fine because I'm going to talk about it now. My knitting is changing, and this is a good thing. So with my new job, I will not be knitting on the go for the majority of my knitting time, which has been what I've been doing pretty much, at least for the past 5 or 6 years. The majority of my knitting time has been on the go. I haven't had a lot of knitting time at home. And that is about to change, where I will mostly have knitting time at home and less on the go because I will have more time to myself, more time at home. It's great. I'm very excited. So I think I'm going to change up what I'm doing as far as how I am knitting. I have so many whips, and I don't really need that many whips now that I can knit at home, and I can do things that are a little bit larger on a regular basis, do things that are a little more complicated. So I'm going to be changing what I'm doing. And I think I've experimented in the past. If you've been around, I like to do random number generator to choose which project to work on. But I shouldn't need to do that on a daily basis, and I'll be free to be able to work on any project. So I'm going to try to stick with, here is what I'm thinking. In a 2-week period, ideally, and this may change depending, I'd like to have 4 whips worked on. So I would like to have a larger blanket whip that I work on a little bit every day or most days. I'd like to have an on-the-go project, because I will still have the need for an on-the-go mindless knit. You know, if I'm going to a doctor's appointment or a road trip or, my lunch break at work or something like that. So I need one of those. And then each Friday, I am going to do random number generator. And of course, we all know how my plans go. But this is the plan, and I tried it. I've been trying it, and it's been working. I'll do random number generator on Friday morning before I podcast, or obviously on the Friday mornings that I'm not podcasting, probably before I go to work. And that will be the project that I really focus on during the week in most of my knitting time. Karen from Bobblehead Knits does something very similar. But I don't think I need to do random number generator every day like I was doing. I think that this will work out great for me. So I've been trying it, and I am excited to show you what that has looked like. It hasn't been exact because I did my birthday cast on in there, but yeah. So my main on-the-go project is living in this beautiful lemon and butterfly bag. And I think the maker, I want to say it's Ginger Snap bags or Ginger Snap Fibers is the bag maker. And this is the yarn I'm using. So the ball is shrinking. Again, I'm not knitting my on-the-go projects quite as much, which is totally fine. And I got this much done. I'll talk about the yarn and needles in just a second after I show you. Isn't this beautiful? I love how the colors are playing. It is just so lovely. And I'm glad that I chose such a simple pattern to really let it shine. Just let that yarn show. So let me give you the deets. This is the Linus by Annett. It is a free pattern over on Ravelry. I am knitting this on a size US 4, 3.5 millimeter needle, and I am using Baah yarn La Jolla in the colorway May 2020. And yeah, it's just a garter, easy peasy garter shawl. I have knit this before and I wear it often. I guess more like a shawlette. It's not super big, which I love, and you just knit till you run out of yarn pretty much. And it's great. I love these. It's a nice little scarf if you're looking for a Sophie scarf alternative that's maybe a little bit larger and a different shape, but I've never even knit a Sophie scarf, but I've seen many people who have something like that though, where it's mostly mindless garter and you use up a full skein of yarn or close to it. And this is fingering weight yarn. So yeah, there's not much to say with this one, but I am really enjoying it. It's a nice, soothing, meditative knit. I don't have to think too hard about it. It is great. So that is my current on-the-go project. And I think that's what I'm going to keep this as, is just my on-the-go project until it's done, because we're coming into summer and leaving my job. I will no longer be seeing my friends who are my coworkers every day. So I know I am going to have many more social activities than I did before. And this will be perfect for those. I don't know the details because I haven't been in the headspace to go find them. But I do know Kayla from the Crazy Sock Lady is running her summer sock camp again after taking a break last year. And if she's doing it the same way she always has, it's just like you knit socks, you enter them, super fun, super low key. So I don't know. I might cast on some socks for that. I have never had a lot of summer sock success. It just ends up, I get to a complicated part and don't continue until like fall or something. So I don't know. We'll see. You know what though? Speaking of socks, let's talk about socks. So in this bag, which is an Erin Lane bag, got her little sheeple there. I think that's what she calls them. Is well, there's only one right now. Daphnis socks. I don't know how to pronounce it. By Audrey Borrego. Again, free pattern on Ravelry. And I am knitting these on a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle and a US 1.5 2.5 millimeter needle. I'm making the size for 64 stitches. I am using Plucky Knitter Feet in the colorways Prickly Pear, which is this one, and Hotsy Totsy, which these are just the best colors. So this was my birthday cast on. And I think this was maybe the best project I have ever chosen for a birthday cast on. I love the colors. Pink and green is my favorite color combination, probably of all time. I love it. And this was so much fun to knit. I stopped because I had been knitting. I'll talk more about, my birthday week and stuff later. But I had been knitting in the car and I usually bring another sock that I know fits me well to kind of compare to when I'm knitting a new pattern, to see how it fits. And I've noticed some of my knit socks are feeling a little bit tighter on me, like lengthwise. So I might be, I kind of want to extend just a touch with this one, like maybe 2 extra rounds. And I didn't know where I was and, so that's how far I've gotten. But this is all and it's free pattern. I'm not giving anything away, but this is all mosaic knitting, which was so much fun. This was so potato chippy. I knit all of that in less than 24 hours, I believe. Most of this was knit just over the course of a few days. This was so much fun. It kept me engaged. It's so squishy. And it is just such a stunning pattern. And then you come into the foot and you do this lovely texture, which is very easy, very memorizable. I believe there are two heel options. There's either a German short row heel, I think, or a heel flap and gusset, which is my go-to. So I just did that. And I love this. Absolutely love this. These are wild. They are bright. And I just think the pattern, the yarn, the whole thing, I think is stunning. Very, very pleased with how this has worked up so far. And I'm excited to finish this one and knit the other one at whatever point this comes up, or this might be whenever I knit through the heel and gusset on this will be a take along until I get to the toe on the second sock. So anyway, there is that. I am really enjoying this pattern and I would highly recommend it. It is so much fun. If you've never done mosaic on a sock, or you're looking for just a fun sock pattern. I would highly recommend it. And if you are nervous about trying color work on a sock, hi, it's me. I've also been nervous about trying color work on a sock because, you know, you hear the horror stories of people who knit the most beautiful colorwork socks and then their floats are too tight and they can't even get them over the ball of their foot or whatever. And I don't know, I haven't been quite ready to do it. I've had yarn for colorwork socks for forever and just haven't. But this is a really nice, more chill way to dip your toe into a colorwork sock, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I think it's an amazing pattern. So would recommend that. All right. Let's see. What are we going to talk about next? No, we're not going to talk about that yet. Okay. Do you want to see the star of my knitting week? I am excited to show you. I got so much done on this project. So Living In's Gigundo tote bag that was a gift from a family member a while back. This is the man-striped vest by Mary, I'm not sure, Lynn Patrick. It's in the Knit Simple magazine winter 2016 and 17. I cast this on April 1st, 2026. So this is my April garment. And I am knitting this on a size US 5, 3.75 millimeter needle and a US 6, 4.0 millimeter needle. I'm making the size medium and I am using Lion Brand Fisherman's wool in the colorways Oatmeal and Nature's Brown. And I'm making this for my husband. So the last time you saw this, it had, I think, like an inch of ribbing. And this is knit flat, works back and forth. And the right side is the reverse stockinette, which is different for me. I don't think I've ever done anything before where the right side was reverse stockinette. So first time for everything. And I'm on the Oatmeal. This is the Oatmeal and the brown is the Nature's Brown. This is rolling away from me. So I got all the way from here. We have Coraline helping us keep our place. And I got all the way up to beginning you can't even see because it's curling so much, beginning the underarm decreases. So that's pretty good. This was the bulk of my knitting for the past week. Full disclosure, I was off work last week I had a planned week of vacation and it just happened to work out that I was able to use up the personal time that I needed to use before I left my job. So that worked out great. But this was the bulk of my knitting. And honestly, this project, being a giant tote bag, is not the most portable. It's also not the least portable, but it's not the most portable. And I got so much done. And that was nice. It was a little taste of what my knitting life will be like going forward. So that was really exciting. And he's excited that I got so much done. Of course, it will, by the time it's done, this will be for fall, I think. I don't think this will get done in time for him to wear anytime soon. Although we have had a couple of days here where it got into the 90s and a couple of days where it was like barely in the 50s. So this he could easily wear if it's in the 50s, but by the time I get it done, we will be deep into summer. So anyways, I don't have a ton. I mean, it's just back and forth stockinette. The pattern is written really clearly. I think it's been a joy to knit. I've really enjoyed it. While we've been watching a show in the evenings, which I'll talk about. I know we're watching shows again. And just relaxing and working on this. It has been a great project. I'll show you guys the back too. I actually really like the back as well, which I suppose you could, if you wanted to, you could totally just, flip what side you were going to like join on and everything. But I like that side too. And he really likes the reverse stockinette. So I am going to have the reverse stockinette be the right side, just like the pattern says. I think it looks pretty cool. It's giving early 2000s vibes as well. I'm going to move the progress keeper while we chat. It's giving early 2000s vibes to me. It reminds me of sweaters and sweater vests that guys were wearing back like when I was in high school. So that's kind of fun. And Mason thought the same thing. Okay. Next, I'll show you what I got done on my garter squish. That's not really the garter squish. It's just a garter blanket, basically. The actual pattern garter squish is by Stephen West. I cast that on September 12th of 2025. I have no idea how many stitches I cast on. More than the pattern tells you to. I know that. I'm knitting this on a US 15 10 millimeter needle, and I am using up a bunch of Lion Brand Homespun and just worsted weight acrylic, white, off-white, ivory, whatever leftovers. And I'm holding those all double. I transferred this to a longer cord, and it is massive. The nice thing about that is you can see all of the different colors much more clearly, the different stripes, and I'm just weaving in ends wherever. That's fine. So you know this one's Cherry Blossom. This is Mediterranean, and I don't remember what color this is in the Lion Brand Homespun. But it is, I can't even get it all in the frame. It is so long. I don't know if you can tell. It is very, very wide. I'm not sure when this is done what kind of size this is going to be. And I am also not sure if I'm going to keep it or donate it. I'm kind of leaning towards donating it, but I'm not sure. Who knows? Okay, so I got from here up to here, which doesn't look like a lot, but it takes me like 25 minutes to get across the row once. So I think that's pretty good. I am trying to do 1 row a day. That did not happen a lot this past week, just because it just didn't, because life was lifing and there's been a lot going on here. So hopefully I will get back into that. I would love to, maybe even start my mornings or something. Now that I will have longer mornings before I have to go to work, I would love to maybe make that something intentional just to do. I'm sorry, I keep looking off. There is a juvenile robin, I'm pretty sure, sitting on the banister of my front porch, and he is staring at me, and he is so cute. Oh, he just flew away. Anyway, I love birds. If you've been around, I really love birds, and I love bird watching. And it's fun because we're starting to see the juvenile birds. We're seeing, all different birds. Anyway, bird. So yeah, I would like to start doing maybe 1 row in the morning. I've been saving it for the evening, but I think mornings are going to work better. And I'll actually have mornings to do that now. This is living in a cardboard box. So I don't need to show you. It is full of more yarn for this blanket. And yeah, we don't need to dig all that out. Okay. So the last thing I want to share is what I'll be working on this coming week. So I did do random number generator this morning, and it chose, I always do like 1 is my oldest whip, and the highest number is my newest whip. So right now I have 24 documented whips on Ravelry. I know. And so I did 1 through 24, and it picked project number 20, which is the Serenità shawl by Susana Lobos Garcia. I cast that on March 20th, 2026. It was my spring equinox cast on. I am knitting it on a size US 7, 4.5 millimeter needle, and I am using Bewitched Pigments Charmed. I have DK here, but I think I discovered it was a worsted in the colorway The Lovers. And I'll show you guys where I'm starting here. So this is the yarn. This moody wine kind of color, super deep wine. Look how pretty that is. It's so pretty. And I don't have much done on it so far. I could be wrong. I think this is a free pattern on Ravelry, but I might be wrong on that. So you'll have to go take a look yourself. We have our little skull and crossbones. And this is all I have done so far. And if I'm remembering right, the Serenità shawl has this stockinette portion, and I believe there's a lace portion, and I believe there's a textured portion. So anyway, that's what I've got there. And stay tuned till next week, or not next week, 2 weeks, and see what kind of progress I've made. Oh, I do have the yarn information. It doesn't say, it does say 100 grams is 218 yards. I think that sounds like probably a worsted weight. It's on there, and it's not even on their charmed base. I don't know. I don't know why I put that. It's on their enchantment base. I need to change that. I'm pretty sure that this is worsted. I do think their charmed is a DK weight, but that's not what I'm using, so. Does this one say? Nope. This one just has the colorway on it. Okay. That is all for the knitting. If you are only here for the knitting and the fiber. Oh, actually I have one more knitting fiber related thing just to briefly mention. The Great Lakes Fiber Festival, Fiber Show, whatever. Google it. Is this weekend at, I believe, the Wayne County Fairgrounds. That's where it usually is anyways. I don't know if I'm going or not. The weather is not looking super amazing this weekend. And I don't know if, I'm still trying not to buy yarn and not to spend a ton of money on that. Although I could honestly use some larger project bags. So maybe. And there's a few notions that I'm kind of tempted to go look for. So we'll see. I may be going, I may not. We will see where the weekend takes us, but I did just want to throw that out there. If I do end up going, I will pop that in the Discord group. So if you are not in that, reach out to me. I do check Instagram periodically just for messages. I don't, I'm not looking at posts or anything, but I do check it for messages occasionally. And, if you send me a message on Ravelry, that's the best way at this point to get a hold of me. Okay. If you were just here for knitting related content, thanks for stopping by. If you would like to stick around, I'm going to talk about what I've been reading, which is a lot, what we're currently watching, I know, and big life stuff. Okay. So, reading. As I said, I was off last week, and life is just kind of getting into everything right now. So right now I work at a library. Well, I used to work at a library up until the end of the day yesterday. That is, on a good day, 35 to 40 minutes away. On a bad day, further, and we had a funky commute and everything. Anyways, so I'm not going to be going out there on a super regular basis to return things because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I've been trying to work through my mountain of books that I have out from there so that I can get them returned, and I was hoping to get through more than I did, but that's okay. I did get through a lot. I read, I believe, 4 books last week that I finished. And I also read a couple of picture books, which I don't think I put in my reading journal, so I won't mention them here. But if you're interested, my story graph is linked down below. You can head over there and see what those are. Both were super cute. But let's go ahead and chat about what I have been reading. And I would have... Yes, this is where I started. Okay, so first up is The Blood Countess, Murder, Betrayal, and the Making of a Monster by Shelley Puhak. This was a nonfiction historical true crime book. I started this May 6th, 2026, finished it May 12th, 2026. I did read it in print. It's 293 pages long and copyright this year. I gave it 4.5 stars. So it's about Elizabeth Bathory, who was a Hungarian noblewoman who was accused of murdering 300 plus virgins and bathing in their blood circa 1610, like sometime around there. And this is like a lore that has become a whole thing. And so you may have heard this tale before. Spoiler alert, not true. Not at all true. It really is interesting. It was very similar to like the Salem witch trials and things like that, where women were just accused of things, mainly if they were practicing like medicine, things like that. And she had a lot of political enemies. She had some political clout. Her husband had political clout. Like, that was interesting. I didn't know much at all about Hungary's history or anything like that. So I found it really interesting. It was a little slow and a little dry at bits, which is why it got that half star knocked off. But if you are someone who likes history, who likes debunking myths, debunking lore, finding out who the real person behind the alleged conspiracy is, you might enjoy it. I did. Okay. I talked about it last time too, so I'm not going to go too much into it. Next up, I read Strangers, A Memoir of Marriage by Belle Burden. This was nonfiction, a memoir. I started and finished it on May 12th. I read it in print, 241 pages long, copyright 2026. I gave it 5 stars. I sat down and read this whole thing in like an afternoon. I didn't expect to even like it or be super interested. And I couldn't put it down. I thought that her writing was really great. And Belle's story, which this isn't really a spoiler, her husband one day basically got up in the morning in the early days of COVID and was like, well, nice knowing you. Bye. They'd been married for 20 years. They had 2 kids. And so she talks about like what that was like navigating without answers, like why this was happening to her, why he had chosen this path, why he didn't want custody of their kids at all. He didn't want anything. And so she reflects on their love story, on their, growing up stories, on the early days of their marriage, on the later days, on what it was like for her to go through a separation and a divorce during the pandemic and how she came out on the other side. I thought it was really, really well done, really beautiful. I really enjoyed it. If you like memoirs, if you like that kind of thing, that kind of, I don't know how to describe it, I would recommend picking it up. It was, I thought, really beautiful. I thought that the way she used birds throughout as a metaphor, kind of, and as like a vehicle to tell her story, it was great. It was great. Next up, I read Crouching Buzzard, Leaping Loon by Donna Andrews. If you know, you know, I have been reading her Meg Langslow Cozy Mystery series. This is Cozy Mystery over this year. Really enjoyed this one. This might be my favorite one so far. I started at May 12th, 2026. May 12th was a big reading day, if we can't tell. And I finished it May 14th. Read it in print, 297 pages. I am really talking with my left hand today. 4.5 stars on this one. Copyright 2002. And this one was just pure fun. So in this one, we find Meg working at her brother's software gaming company, which is Donna Andrews just writes the best, hilarious, quirky characters ever. The company's called Mutant Wizards. And like everybody in this office is super quirky. She's just like filling in there. And of course, there's a murder that she has to try to help solve. It's great. It is great. I laughed out loud multiple times. It was funny. She just writes great characters. Like, seriously, they're so good. Then, taking a total 180, I read Gray After Dark by Noelle W. Illy. This is a thriller, mystery, crime book. Started at May 14th, finished at May 17th. I read that one in print, and it was 368 pages long, copyright 2024. I gave that one 4.5 stars. So this one, I don't know, maybe I wasn't quite in the mood for it. It was really good. I don't know. I feel like my personal life, I've had so much change. I haven't been gravitating towards thrillers as much right now, but that's fine. It's about a young woman named Miley Petrowski. She's an Olympic biathlon athlete, and she is abducted while out in a run in the Idaho wilderness. And we follow her story as she tries to escape to survive. It is a dual perspective novel. The other perspective is her best friend and love interest, Brent. And wow, it was beautiful. It was another beautifully written story. Was it easy to read? No. There are a lot of things that are... I would recommend, if you are not a regular thriller reader and you are sensitive to a lot of things, I would recommend checking. She does have a trigger warning at the beginning of the book. You might want to check that out to see if the book is for you before you just dive in. There were a lot of hard things. But the way that the story was written was really beautiful. The characters, everything. And it is loosely inspired by a true story. Very loosely inspired. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I did. And then, after reading something super dark, I went the other way. And I am now reading The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. You all know I love a Sarah Beth Durst book. I started that. I don't have it written here. I'm pretty sure May 17th when I finished the other one. I am reading it in print. It has 372 pages. Copyright this year. It just came out, I don't know, maybe a month ago. It is a YA novel and fantasy, cozy fantasy. I love a Sarah Beth Durst book. If you've been around, you know this. I think that it is like drinking a cup of the best hot chocolate in front of a cozy fire, wrapped in your favorite blanket. Like, that is how her books make me feel. They are just lovely stories. They're lighthearted. They have sweet characters. They're whimsical. They're fun. They're imaginative. Love them. And that is going to segue a little bit into some of my future plans. So earlier this year, I told you all I was going to the Big Ohio Book Con, and I did not end up buying tickets because shortly after that was when all of this stuff with the potential job change started, and I didn't know what was going to happen, so I didn't want to make any commitments. Well, I am now scheduled to work that Saturday, which is fine. That is not a big deal. It's a two-day event. I am still planning to go on the Sunday. I'll just buy my ticket at the door. So if you are going and you will be there on the Sunday, let me know. I'd love to meet up and chat. And I think Sarah Beth Durst, from what I can tell, will still be there signing books on Sunday for like an hour or something, an hour and a half, something like that. I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw that. So you all know I have to get a signed copy of a Sarah Beth Durst book. Like, I must. I simply must. I just love her stories. They remind me of so much of... I got away from fantasy as an adult, and I think a lot of that is a lot of fantasy has a lot of romance and like, but not just romance, but it's like more like, I'll read a smutty book. I don't like a smutty book though. I don't know. These just remind me of like a wholesome fantasy that I read as a kid. I love it. I just love it. And no shame if you are a huge fan of, you know, romantasy, high fantasy, all of that. Like, absolutely no shame. It's just not my preferred style of fantasy. I prefer this. This is lovely and just makes me feel like it's just great. So anyways, I really have enjoyed that. And it makes me feel like a kid again. Okay, that is it for the reading. Watching, we subscribed to PBS Passport. That was one of my gifts to myself for my birthday. And we're watching Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch. We're going back through. We started it back when it was on Masterpiece back in the day, like on TV. And now we're going back through and rewatching it, and that's been really lovely in the evenings. We get through about a half an episode in an evening when we sit down to watch that. So that has been really great. Let's get into all the life things. Thank you for all the birthday wishes and the congratulations on my new job and everything. My birthday, we didn't do a whole lot. We went to the mall. I haven't been to the mall in many years. I did not find any of the things that I was looking for because I don't know. I wanted to buy a couple of physical CDs for my car, and hardly anywhere sold CDs. It was mostly records, or honestly, most of the stores were just full of really cheap junk, which was disappointing. And I felt very old. I felt very old at the mall. Things had changed. I had worked at that mall, gosh, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago. So much is different. Yeah, I didn't buy anything there at all. I had wanted a new pair of shoes, ended up dealing with a very rude, very unkind salesperson, didn't buy shoes there. I ended up having to order them online. So anyway, birthday wasn't really a huge day. Didn't do a lot that day, which is fine. Had a pretty low-key weekend after that. And then for Mason's birthday, we went down to Amish country and had a lovely day. So that was really, really great. I worked on my sock in the car on the way down and everything. So that was good. And then I had a pretty low-key chill week off. Again, didn't do a ton, just stayed home and knit, cleaned out some closets and stuff. Just enjoyed that little break. And then this was my last week at work. It was very emotional. And then yesterday they threw me, like, I've never had something like this. They threw me a surprise Pokemon party, and I think I was like hugged more yesterday than any day ever. So many hugs, so many well wishes. I had people coming in, patrons and staff and former staff, and it was so lovely. I got so many gifts and cards and a cake, and it was amazing. And they even made me, oh my goodness, okay, it's tangling with yarn. That was not intended. They even made me my own Pokemon card photo op, which was just like the best thing ever. And I have a binder with, they made like little Pokemon cards for people to sign. It was truly the most thoughtful, spectacular. It was perfect. And I ended my career there exactly the way that I had wanted to. It was the perfect day. Whew, I cried so many times though. Lots of emotions. But yeah, that chapter closed yesterday. And I got home very late because I was still chatting with people in the parking lot. Like, a half hour after we closed and stuff. And yeah, I got home pretty late last night. Had a ton of stuff to bring in from my car and to show Mason and everything. Got to bed very, very late. Dragging a little bit today, but I have never felt so loved. So I wanted to share that. That was exciting. And then this weekend, looking ahead, I think we are going to try to go to the drive-in. The Sheep Detectives is playing, and I really want to see that movie. I'm not a huge movie person, but I saw the previews for that a while back, a trailer or something, and it looked really, really good. I have heard from multiple people who have gone that it is wonderful. The weather is not looking super great, so I'm hoping it holds out and that we can go do that this weekend. I don't think we got to the drive-in last summer, which is a bummer due to my migraines. I just can't go to regular movie theaters. It tends to be a trigger, and it's just not worth it. So yeah, but the drive-in, I can control things, and that's okay. So that works out great, and I'm really hoping that works out. Like I said, might pop by the Great Lakes Fiber Show, might not sure. Again, the weather just doesn't look super good. And I think that's all. Just enjoying my weekend before I start my new job on Tuesday. So very excited, a little bit nervous, but it'll be good. It'll be so good. And that's where I'm going to end things today. Friends, I don't have a whole lot more to talk about. My pocket of delight is honestly that I have so many people who love and care about me. And that is my little pocket of delight this week, because there really isn't anything better than that. I hope that over the next couple weeks, which it looks like, as far as I can tell on my new schedule, I should be able to just continue my regular recording schedule, which is awesome. And I will have more opportunities. If I need to record an episode early, I will have a lot of opportunities to do that. So I'm going to keep the recording schedule for now, which I'm so happy about. But anyways, I hope that over the next couple weeks, if you're in the States, I hope that you have a lovely Memorial Day weekend. If you are not, have a great weekend. Have a great next couple of weeks. I hope that you find time to knit or crochet or run a 5K or look at the birds or try skydiving or whatever it is that brings you joy. And in your corner of paradise. And I will be here knitting away in my little corner of paradise. I'll see you next time, friends. Bye.